Hi everyone. So today I'm going to teach you about how to create a resume, okay, from Microsoft Word. So when you open Microsoft Word, just go to this new tab, and then if you go to the new tab, it will be showing you a lot of templates here, right? So business cards, and then flyers, letters, education, or sometimes it will be showing you like more templates. If you click on more templates, you will be seeing something called resumes and cover letters. So let me click on this resume. So when you click on the resume and cover letters tab, now what happens is it will show you a list of many templates. So for example, it has bold modern resume, it has polished resume, it has photo cover letter, basic modern resume, and then minimalist resume, and then if you scroll down, it will take you to something called accounting resume, marketing resume, paralegal resume, attorney resume, restaurant manager resume, human resource resume, store manager resume, and then it'll also show you something called basic resume. So when we say basic resume, suppose you are a fresher and you don't have any experience, then you can choose this template, okay? But you have enough experience and you can list all the experience, then in that case you can choose other templates, okay? So I'll tell you an example, okay? I'm going to choose a resume here. This is called balanced resume, okay? I'm going to choose this one, and then if you see here, it will be asking for first name, last name, address, phone, email, and then LinkedIn profile, and then Twitter. If you have Twitter, yes. So, and then it will be asking for this objectives. So first one, like let's say your name is Mickey Mouse, okay? This is an example, okay? And then you type here Mickey Mouse, and then what you do is you add all your address, phone number, email, and if you have a LinkedIn profile, you can link it here. If you have Twitter, if you want to add, you can add, otherwise you can remove this. So if you want to remove this, just click on this and then press the delete button. That's it, okay? And then next to that, you will be having something called career objective. So you may be thinking like what to add. I'll tell you detailing how to add a career objective, but let's first go through the template. So on the left corner, you always have name. On the right hand side, it's always like your details, okay? Address, phone number, and email ID. Next thing is skills, okay? Based upon your profession, your skills will differ. I will also tell you like what to add, but for now let's go through the template. So first name, and then skills, and then experience. And then experience, you're going to put like what was the job title that you had in the previous company or the current company, like what is your job title, what's the company's name, and what is the locations. And then under that, you can also put like what was your roles and responsibility in that particular company, what did you do, okay? So this is experience. And then next comes the education. So education, you can always put like if you have bachelor's, like where did you study, what's the name of the school, and how much did you get, what was your GPA. And if it is like in India, it's mostly like percentage, right? So if it's 98%, 100%, like whatever is your scores, you can put, but it's not necessary. If it is like very high and if you're proud of your scores, then you can put it here, but if it's low, don't put it here, okay? So resume is something like when a HR sees a resume, or a manager, recruiting manager sees your resume, he must be impressed by whatever you're putting it here. So if you have very low scores, then don't put those scores here, okay? Then just put your title, and then school, like what was the degree, name of the degree, then what school or college did you study, and then location. So, and also if it's bachelor's or masters, you're going to list it here. And then you can also put like what kind of like what is your passion, activities. So do you have any kind of certifications, or are you volunteering for something different? Okay, so that you can put as an activity. So this is a basic resume. But when you come to career objective, I'm going to tell you how to put the career objective. So for example, okay, you are let's say you are an administrative, okay, you're applying for some administrative job. Okay, now what should be your objective? You should say like strong problem solver, an analytical thinker, okay, who seeks administrative position to improve the workflow and process in an office setting. Okay, and also you're telling that you have about like 2 years of experience and excellent communication skills. So when you put a resume objective, you need to make sure that like in this one sentence, right, you're saying that you have 2 years of experience, you have excellent communication skills, also you are a problem solver. Okay, so when you add in a resume objective, it's very important, like you put fancy words here. Okay, so for example, here it says results driven, an organized professional with 5 years of experience. Okay, so you can put like such fancy words. So make sure that you put it in the very first, because when HR reads, remember, when HR reads this resume, right, the very first text he'll read is this objective only. Okay, let me copy and paste this here. So for example, you're putting like you're going for an let's say you're going for a manager. Okay, so let's say you're going for a manager. So what you need to do, you need to put it here. Okay, put that here. So what you do is you put that objective in the first page itself, so that when the HR sees it, right, they'll be like, okay, so this person is an experienced manager, is successful, and also has some problem solving skills and also process improvement skills. So this objective is very important, and depending upon whatever position you are applying, you can actually change the words. Okay, there are like many objective examples in Google. If you search for just say resume objectives, you will get a lot of fancy words. So make sure you customize according to the whatever job position you are applying, and then you can add that objective. Okay, suppose in case like you're not an experienced person and you are a fresher, okay, complete fresher. So what should I add that? So in that case, you can always say that you are results oriented, or you are always like you would have done schooling, right? So in schooling, like there should be some kind of achievements that you have done. So you can always say you are organized, you are a person who's very much like organized, you like being, you are a problem solver. So it not necessarily only an experienced person should put these words, even a fresher also can also put. Okay, so make sure you choose the words wisely and add it in the objective. And if you don't know any word, okay, for example, you don't know a particular word's meaning, don't add it in the resume. So for every line you are adding in the resume, you should know the meaning of all the words. Don't put some complicated words here and then you yourself don't know the meaning, and then when the HR manager asks you what is this, then you don't know what's that, then that time you're in trouble. So even if it's going to be simple, right, the entire resume you should be able to explain to the HR or the recruiting manager. So don't put complicated words, and then don't put yourself in an embarrassing situation. So choose the words correctly, and for every word you should know the meaning. Okay, that's very, very important. And then next is skills. So objectives, once you have done with objectives, then you come to skills. So it comes to skills, like there are like different types of skills for every job, right? For example, you're an accountant, right? You should know about accounting, finance. You should know to write very well. So written communication. And if you are an administrative person, then you should also know basic like coordination and also administrative support. If you're marketing, you should know all the marketing strategy and leadership skills. But when it comes to like mostly like the software engineers, this is where like people like generally they freshers usually they go to big MNC, they submit their resume, right? So when it comes to top skills for software engineers, make sure whatever programming language you list here, right, you know very well about that programming language. Okay, for example, you put Java, so like the recruiter or the person who's recruiting, right, when you put Java, he's going to ask you Java questions. Okay, when you put Python, he's going to ask you Python questions. When you put top skills for software engineer, you can list like maybe at least 2 to 3 skills. Okay, it could be anything, okay, related to that particular job. So you are applying for a developer. Okay, let's say you are applying for a developer. So and you put your strengths here. Okay, so in the job description anyway, when you read the job description, they'll be asking whether that person needs to have Java knowledge or Python knowledge or Pega knowledge. It could be any kind of skill they are expecting, right? So if you have knowledge, okay, then you have to put it here, Java. Okay, and then you can whatever additional, and if you have any kind of technical knowledge, any skills, you can add it here. But if you don't have and you don't, so this is very important when you are adding skills. Whatever you add in skills, okay, definitely the manager is going to question you about that. Okay, so make sure whatever you add here, right, it's like you are able to answer. If that person is, if the interviewer is asking you any question related to that, right, you should be able to answer properly. If you yourself don't know what is that, okay, then it will be very embarrassing and you're not going to get the job. So before you write the resume, make sure every word in the resume, whatever you write, right, you have at least a basic understanding, and you should be able to whatever questions that manager is going to ask you, right, at least you'll be able to answer some of the questions. When you put Java, some of the Java questions you should be able to answer. When you put Python, the basics of Python you need to know. Okay, without knowing that, don't put anything. Okay, even if it's 1 or 2 skills, that's fine, but whatever you put here, you should know about it very well. And it's not only technical skills, you can also put like other skills like for example, you can also put it's again soft skills, right? So soft skills like collaboration, you can put like leadership, and also like you have excellent communication, you are very innovative, and you know how to written communication, you know it very well. And also you know about Microsoft Word and Excel and PowerPoint. So if you know that, okay, if you know very well, or if you at least you can manage those questions, then you can add it in skills. Okay, and if you're a fresher and you think like I can't add anything in that resume, okay, let me take this. So if you think, if you're a fresher and if you don't have any kind of technical knowledge, okay, you're just like brand new from college and you don't have any skills, right, then you can put like basic skills. Okay, like for example, Word, Excel, and then what you could documentation, all that you can put. Okay, so you need to communication, written communication, documentation, all that skills, like it's all very basic, right? So all that you can put in skills. Okay, and leadership quality, and also coordination, and all those are soft skills, so you can put that. And if the job requires some kind of technical skills, right, so if they're asking like they need at least 6 months or 1 year experience Java software engineer, so in that case you can put Java. You need to put Java. If you don't put Java, right, they're not going to like even call you for an interview. So if the job description says at least 3 years of experience, right, so in that case you have to put Java. Okay, so whatever, see, when you write the resume, you can add anything in the resume and you can get an interview. But it's going to be embarrassing for you in the interview if they ask you certain questions and if you're not able to answer. Okay, that time you will be losing your confidence. You'll be like, oh my god, I put so much in my resume, they call me for an interview, but I'm not able to answer it, and that will definitely affect you internally. So that will like crash your confidence. So make sure your resume is very perfect and you put everything on a resume, like valid points, so that when they call you for a job interview, you're having that confidence, okay, to clear the interview. Okay, next is experience. So I'm going to show you, like for example, okay, this is all examples. So you are a school teacher, okay, in that case you can put the location from your math teacher, and then from when to when did you do that, and then what was the roles and responsibility as a school teacher. So what did you do? Did you developed curriculums, and then you were engaging lessons, and then you had success rate. So you monitored students, and then you had long-term goals. So all that you can put. If you're a nurse, then what did you do? You offered care to ill patients, and then generally, like, what are the nursing responsibility, right? All that you can list. So for example, if you're a web developer, okay, so in that case it says like, yeah, you need to explain in detail like what did you develop, okay, so what is the software, or as a web developer, what was your project, and then what did you do, okay, what did you develop. So all that you can put here. And then if it's a human resource person, what did you do on your job. So you were recruiting, and you were handling training and payroll processing and interviewing and all that, right? So you can put all that. So this is all for experience people. First you need to like put you need to add what was your job title, okay, whether you were working as a HR person or a manager or a developer, and then what was the company and the location, and then you need to add your responsibilities. And for that particular project, like whatever project you worked on, what did you do. So when you say what did you do, you should not be putting as like VV. You should be like, I was responsible for developing this application, I was responsible for doing this documentation, I was responsible for testing this application. So you need to put it is always should be I, and don't put it as like VV, okay. So what was your responsibility? They're asking about describe your responsibility in the sense in that particular project, as like what did you do specifically, what was the role that was assigned to you, and what did you do. So that needs to be very crisp and clear here. Okay, so you can like Google for some like fancy words like for job responsibilities for that particular position, and then you need to put it in bullet points here, okay. And then next it comes to education. So education, I've already told you, don't put, if your score is too low, then don't put your marks here, just put your degree and school and location. Okay, activities like you can always put what was your hobby, and then volunteering, did you do some kind of volunteering, have you done any kind of certifications. So there are like a lot of free certifications now in the market. Microsoft certifications are there, which is free. So you can put all that, you can take all that basic certifications, free certifications, and you can add it. Suppose if you don't have any certification, right, so you can take those free certifications and you can add it here. It will look good on your resume. So okay, now so that's what you need to add it in your resume. I will go through once again, and I will show you if it's going to be a different template, how it will look. So when you see Microsoft Word, I can go back. So I can go back again and choose another template, new, and then you go to new, and then you go to resumes and cover letters. It will show you a lot of templates, okay. And then, so for example, I'm taking a minimalist resume. Okay, see here, it's going to ask your name and then objective. So I already told you what to put it in an objective, okay. Just replace it here with that objective. Put your name, and then whatever role you are currently working, like put that. If you don't have anything, leave this blank. Your address, phone number, and email, and then your education, and then your experience, and then key skills. I already told you these key skills are very important. Whatever you're going to put here, make sure you know something about it, okay. And then communication, leadership, and references. So references usually like they may ask you to list it down, or you can do it in a separate page too. So if you want in a separate page, actually Word also has something called a reference page list. So you can always go to this bottom corner. They have something called reference, this resume references, okay. So if you just click here, I can show you an example. So this page you can attach maybe a second page. It will ask, this is called as reference there is a template for reference. Okay, so your name and what is the reference title, then what is their name, and then company address, what was your relationship, whether that person was your manager or a colleague. So you can give you can attach this as second page in your resume. So that makes 2 pages. And then make sure the wordings are very crisp. Don't add a lot of wordings. Make sure it's very simple, and also when the HR views it, right, it should look fancy. So don't use the template like the normal old, like whatever is outdated, right? Don't choose those templates. So now we are in a different era. Everything is most of the templates and resumes are, you can find a lot of templates here, so you can choose something fancy. Or if you are confident about your photograph, you can also put like your photo. So for example, you see this one. Okay, so for example, this one just says like your name here, job title, and your photograph. Okay, and then this is like this is very, very different. This one is, for example, you're going for some audition, you are in a visual communication student, and you're going for some kind of media audition, right? So they want to just see your picture. That is, so those resumes will be very different from the normal resume. So you can always put your picture, name. So this is something like fancy, you can do that. And then let's see another template. So I'm going to go to a new template. I'm going to go new, and then resume, and then let me take another template. So it says accounting. Okay, let me go with accounting. You see, for accounting it's different. It's like very organized and professional, right? So it depends upon your job, your layout will be changing. Okay, so there is not like one standard layout for all the job. Depending upon the layout, already Microsoft Word, they have customized the layout. So you can add your name, your address, email, and then just like as I said, like put the objective here. Then experience, no, you have to put like from which year did you work in that particular job, and then work experience. Okay, so when you put work experience, like you can also put it as bullet points. That will be very easy for them to read. And make sure you put everything as like so I was responsible for this particular work. Okay, I was responsible for this particular testing, I was responsible for this development, or I was responsible for creating this application, I was responsible for end-to-end testing, I was responsible for creating the document. So you need to put like that. Okay, not like, make sure when they read that bullet points, right, they are like, okay, this person has done something. Just by seeing the resume, they should be like, you've worked on that project, or you had some kind of experience. So like that you need to add here. And then education, so you can also put it like this. Okay, so date, and then what is the college or school that you went, and then what was it. So remember, GPA is like, if you're very proud of your GPA, you put, otherwise don't put your GPA. Then skills is like, for example, you know about you're fluent in some language, so fluent in German, you have some oral and written communication, you know about Microsoft anyway Dynamics. So if you know, you put, otherwise don't put. Okay, and then activities can be something like yoga, skiing, travel, and then art something. So but certifications are very important. So I'll make a video of what are the new certifications that are available in the market, free certifications. So you can do those free certifications, and then you can add it here as well. I hope this will help you to create a resume. It's very simple. Go to Word, new, and then resumes and cover letters, and then choose one of the templates, and then you should be good to go. Okay, don't think too much, just worry about the skills part. If you want So read the job description and see like what they want. Okay, depending upon that you need to add your skills. So if you don't have any idea about that any particular language or any area, please don't add it. Okay, that's my kind recommendation. Thank you everyone. I think in my next video we will learn about thank you for watching.